Hi there, it's Saturday the 24th of July 2021. We're continuing this month to look at the one another scriptures in the New Testament. Loving one another, accepting one another, encouraging one another, and so on. And this week in particular we're looking at encouraging one another and asking the question, what are we to encourage one another to do? And we've been looking at the example of Jesus with his disciples. Jesus has encouraged his disciples, first of all, to believe. And we can encourage each other to believe. When we see each other in doubt or unbelief, we can encourage each other to believe. Secondly, when we see each other stressed and overworked, we can encourage each other to rest. Thirdly, when we see each other stuck and confused, we can encourage each other to think differently about a situation. Fourthly, when we are afraid, paralysed by fear, we can encourage each other to be brave. And fifthly and lastly, when we are not understanding a situation, when we appear blind and don't really get what's going on, we can encourage each other to understand. Mark chapter 7 verse 14. Again, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, "Listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a man can make him unclean by going into him. Rather, it is what comes out of a man that makes him unclean." And he goes on to explain that could be sexual immorality or evil thoughts or whatever. And after he had left the crowd and entered the house, his disciples asked him about this parable. "Are you so dull?" Jesus said. "Don't you see that nothing that enters a man from the outside can make him unclean?" He was challenging his disciples. He was encouraging his disciples to understand, to see. And he was encouraging them in quite a blunt way by saying, "Why are you being so dull?" Today we would say, "Why are you being so thick?" Why don't you understand? Why don't you get it? But we can all be like that sometimes, can't we? We can all not grasp the truth of a situation. We can all be slow to grasp what we should do. And then sometimes we almost speak to ourselves and rebuke ourselves and say, "Oh, Graham, why didn't you see that? Why didn't you understand that?" And we can encourage each other with that as well. When we see each other not understanding a situation, when we see each other just not quite grasping the truth in a particular situation, sometimes people from outside the situation can look upon that and can see it very clearly. Sometimes we can see people in their situation and think, "Why don't you get this? Why don't you understand that that person is taking you for a ride? And that what you should be doing is saying no to that person. It's so obvious to everybody else, and somehow it's not obvious to you." And sometimes we can see and we can understand. And you know, we need each other to come alongside us and to speak to us, which is what the word encouragement means. Come alongside and to speak and to say, "Look, I can see and I can understand, and can I share with you what I see and understand?" And then we need humility and we need grace to be able to accept that truth, and that can so help us. So we can encourage each other to believe, we can encourage each other to rest, we can encourage each other to think differently, we can encourage each other to be brave, and we can encourage each other to understand. So let us take the steps this week, this month, to encourage one another. God bless you. Speak to you again soon.